Welcome back to our channel, where today we delve into the untold stories of the Nigerian Biafran Civil War, a tragic chapter in Nigeria's history that scarred the nation over 50 years ago. Despite the passage of time, the memories of over 1 million lives lost still linger. In this video, we'll be exploring the personal accounts of 3 individuals who experienced the war firsthand. Their stories paint a vivid picture of the sacrifices, resilience, and challenges that many faced during those tumultuous times. This is Africa FHS. If you like this video, please subscribe to our channel to support us. Our first account comes from Christopher Ejikeago, a soldier who found himself thrust into the Biafran army at a young age. He had just finished grammar school and started training as a veterinary assistant at the University of Nigeria, in Nsukka, in southeastern Nigeria, when the Civil War began. Christopher vividly recounts the hunger, the makeshift training, and the emotional toll of war in a chat with the BBC. Let's journey into his experiences. "We thought we were magicians," said Mr. Ago. "The Nigerians who were pursuing us were trained soldiers. We were not. We were drafted into the war, given 2 days training, plus the fact that we were hungry. Some of us, our skin was getting rotten. Nobody can fight a war like that." Christopher's narrative takes us back to the roots of the conflict, stemming from political upheavals and ethnic tensions in Nigeria. In January 1966, certain Nigerian army officers, some of whom were from the Igbo ethnic group, assassinated key politicians during a coup in the West African state. Those killed included Amadu Bello and Sir Tafawa Balewa, both revered leaders in the north. This led to months of massacres against the Igbo living in the north. Tens of thousands were killed while about 1 million fled to what was then known as the Eastern region. This led the leader of the Eastern region, Colonel Odumegwu Ojukwu, an Igbo officer himself, to declare secession of Biafra from Nigeria. Ojukwu's charismatic leadership inspired hope. But the reality of hunger and military challenges would soon become harsh realities for Christopher and his comrades. Hunger, as Christopher emphasizes, was a silent killer during the war. Many lives were claimed not by bullets and bombs, but by the pervasive famine that gripped Biafra. Christopher narrated how Biafran fighters would hunt and eat mice in the forest in a bid to survive. He later reunited with his family after not seeing them for 2 years following the end of the war. Christopher lost many of his close friends during the war but was lucky to find some of his family members alive. Our second narrative comes from Felix Nwankwo Orogwu, a physicist who played a pivotal role in the war as the head of the research and production group. His story unveils the innovative spirit that emerged from the depths of desperation. Felix's account sheds light on the desperate need for weapons in Biafra at the onset of the war. Facing a complete lack of conventional arms, his team's invention of the Ogbonigwe proved to be a game-changer, influencing the course of many battles. However, despite their contributions, the aftermath brought economic devastation and a sense of marginalization for the Igbo people. No Igbo man or woman has ever served as president of Nigeria since the war ended. Many hold the opinion that self-determination groups like IPOB led by Nnamdi Kanu began springing up due to this perceived marginalization by some members of the ethnic group. This is still a sensitive topic in the West African country till today. Mr. Orogwu wishes that the Igbo had paid less attention to the scramble for power at the center, and instead distinguished their region by advancing the technological gains of the war. Biafra would have been a technological nation, and would have been able to compete with anybody, he said. "That is what makes me sad. By this time, we would have been competing with at least South Korea." The scientist's wartime accomplishments caught the attention of the Nigerian authorities, and he was invited after the war by the government to pioneer a special science and technology program for the country. He was behind the setting up of 4 universities of science and technology in different regions of Nigeria. And after retirement, he published Scientific and Technological Innovations in Biafra, a book he hoped would inspire young Nigerians. Nigeria was programmed by the British colonial authorities not to participate in the production and manufacture of global technologies, he wrote. The war gave the opportunity to reject the colonial design. An incredible period. Felix's reflections on what could have been a technologically advanced Biafra raise questions about missed opportunities and the lasting impact of the war on the Igbo people. The struggle for recognition and equality continues to echo through the decades. Our final account comes from Edna Nwanobi, a teacher who worked as a translator in the Biafran Ministry of Foreign Affairs. She was teaching English and French in a secondary school in Port Harcourt in southern Nigeria when the Civil War began. While the UK backed Nigeria, France was the most prominent supporter of Biafra, but English was more widely spoken in Biafra, so translators were needed whenever French officials visited Ojukwu. Her unique perspective offers insights into the diplomatic challenges faced by Biafra and the human side of the conflict. Edna's recounting of her time as a translator reveals the international dynamics at play during the war. As she worked directly with Ojukwu and foreign officials, she became a witness to critical negotiations and appeals for the release of captured individuals. "The war was an incredible period," said Mrs. Edna Nwanobi. "Everybody was forced to go home, so you were forced to fraternize with your people more than any time before. And people who worked in every Biafra office were high-level people. These were people who were doing all sorts of things, and the war forced them out of their positions." She enjoyed working directly with the Biafran leader, whom she and her colleagues fondly referred to as Brother OJ. Her most memorable assignment occurred after the Biafran military captured 6 Italian oil workers employed by the Nigerian government. Officials from different European countries traveled to meet Ojukwu to appeal for their release. "That was the largest assembly we had," she recalled. "Even the Vatican sent representatives." During the meeting, Mrs. Nwanobi conveyed to Ojukwu that he stood the risk of losing European support. He promised to consider the matter, and the Italians were subsequently released. Her story provides a glimpse into the complexities of diplomacy amidst conflict. The plight of Biafrans gained support among activists around the world, including in London, where a protest was held in 1968. The global support for Biafra, as depicted in Edna's experiences, highlights the war's impact beyond Nigeria's borders. As we conclude this exploration into the personal narratives of these survivors of the conflict, we are reminded of the ugly event that the war was. The scars may be hidden, but they are not forgotten. Let us strive to understand, commemorate, and learn from this painful chapter in Nigeria's history. Thank you for joining us on this episode. Please share your thoughts, experiences, and stories about the Nigeria-Biafra Civil War in the comments section below. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and like and share our videos. We will see you in the next video.